Hello, welcome back to our channel, where in today's video we will be discussing the growing tensions between the United States of America and China. In recent years, the relationship between the world's two largest economies has been deteriorating. There are a number of reasons for this, including trade disputes, territorial claims in the South China Sea, and the COVID-19 pandemic. Currently, the relationship between China and the United States of America is at an all-time low. The US has accused China of unfair trade practices, cyber espionage, and human rights violations, while China has accused the US of interference in its internal affairs, including Taiwan and Hong Kong. The tension between the two nations have spilled over into other areas such as technology, with the US banning Chinese technology companies from doing business with American companies, and China creating its own tech ecosystem to counter the US dominance. The technological competition between China and the United States has become a key aspect of their rivalry. In recent years, the US has been increasingly wary of China's growing dominance in the tech industry, particularly in areas such as artificial intelligence, 5G networks, supercomputing, and space exploration. In response, the US government has taken a number of steps to limit China's companies' access to American technology. For example, in May 2019, the US Department of Commerce added Huawei, one of China's leading technology companies, to its entity list, effectively banning it from doing business with American firms. The US has also taken steps to limit China's access to American technology through investment restrictions, export controls, and visa policies. In addition, the US government has encouraged its allies to exclude Chinese technology companies from their own networks, citing security concerns. China has responded on its part to these measures by investing heavily in its own tech ecosystem. The government has provided substantial funding for domestic companies and has implemented policies to promote the development of strategic industries such as semiconductors, software, and robotics. China's tech industry has grown rapidly in recent years, with companies such as Huawei, TikTok, Tencent, and Alibaba becoming global players. China is also leading the world in areas such as 5G deployment, electric vehicles, and renewable energy. As competition between the two nations intensify, there are increasing fears that it could lead to a technological decoupling where the two nations develop separate tech ecosystems that are not compatible with each other. This could have far-reaching consequences for the global economy and could lead to a fragmentation of the internet. While this competition can lead to innovation and economic growth, it also has the potential to create division and conflict between nations. Many experts fear that the tension between China and the United States could lead to an all-out war. The two nations have the largest military forces in the world, with the US claiming the most advanced military technology and China having the largest army. The South China Sea is one of the most contentious areas between the two nations, with China claiming most of the sea as its own. The US has been conducting freedom of navigation operations in the area and installing its military bases, which China sees as a provocation. The South China Sea is a critical strategic location for both China and the United States. China claims sovereignty over much of the region, including several disputed islands and reefs. The US has been conducting freedom of navigation operations in the South China Sea, which involve sailing its naval vessels through the area to assert its right to navigate freely in international waters. These operations have been seen as a direct challenge to China's territorial claims in the region and have resulted in several incidents of confrontation between the two nations' naval forces. But how can the US expect freedom in what China considers its backyard when the Monroe Doctrine claims the Western Hemisphere as America's backyard and thus forbids any country from interfering in its affairs? China has responded to US operations by increasing its military presence in the region, including building artificial islands and deploying naval and air forces. China has also criticized the US for what it sees as interference in its internal affairs and has accused the US of trying to contain China's rise as a global power. The tension over the South China Sea has also spilled over into other areas such as trade and technology. The US has used the issue to justify its trade restrictions on China and has sought to limit China's access to advanced technology. Such is the case with the world's two leading manufacturers of advanced chips, Taiwanese Semiconductor Manufacturing Company and ASML, where America has stretched its restrictions to include restricting the use of American-made equipment in the manufacture of Chinese-designed chips. China is the largest importer of microchips, and these companies have been critical in China's advancements in 5G network development and artificial intelligence. In addition to the tension over the South China Sea, Nancy Pelosi's visit to Taiwan in 2022 was seen as a major provocation by China. The then Speaker of the US House of Representatives visited Taiwan in what many perceived as carelessness. Pelosi's visit was seen by China as a direct challenge to its territorial claims and as interference in its internal affairs. China responded by increasing its military activities near the island. China sees Taiwan as a renegade province that should be reunited with mainland China and has taken a hardline stance on the issue. China hopes to reunify Taiwan with the mainland, but has said it wants the reunification to be gradual and peaceful. In addition, both nations have nuclear weapons, which could lead to catastrophic outcomes in the event of a war. The world has already seen the devastating effects of nuclear weapons, and any use of them would have dire consequences for both nations and the rest of the world. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned to our channel for updates on this issue.